And does everybody see my screen? No? Nobody does? Okay, so the two things that we want to cover today is a little bit more on Media Wiki, which you did install last week. And if you didn't, you can catch up. You can watch that and do whatever you need to do. But we're actually using it today and getting you to get familiar with the formatting of it and how to manage it a little bit, and the basic formatting and editing. There's a lot of management that you can do, users' rights, and looking at if people can post or edit, and looking at revision history and revert back to different history versions or whatever. But again, just getting you comfortable with at least being exposed to the basics of it, of formatting and creating a wiki. And probably a very, very popular wiki is Wikipedia. Let me just open one up. And what's nice about Wikipedia? Lots of information. Yeah. There's a lot of information to it, but one of the nicer things about it is that people can edit it and update it and be able to put new information on right away instead of having a printed encyclopedia, or instead of having a certain person or individuals or even a company manage the data all centrally. Pretty much if you're a specialist in your area, you can update areas and you can even watch or monitor these. It's like, oh, wait a second, that's not quite right, or you just sort of tweak it. Now that's pros and cons. Obviously if you're looking for something academic, you won't be able to use this as a source or a reference. But if people do this properly, they will cite references as well, and that could lead you to working with additional academic resources. But it is good. It's usually pretty accurate, gives you a lot of information, and it lets people edit and manage that. This whole database structure, the idea of having links and having the ability to edit or change or whatever, is all based on some software called MediaWiki. MediaWiki is the company who developed the software, the scripts, the database backend, or whatever it's using to allow all this to happen. Wikipedia is one of many, many, many implementations of that software. We installed the software last week. We downloaded it. We had our back-end database, because all this stuff has to be stored somewhere. We had our web page created, and we have our PHP, which is our scripting language, all installed. This sits on top of that and requires all that. When we talked about different web servers or MySQL, PHP, the LAMP servers or WAMP or just AMP servers, that's the basis for a lot of different applications. MediaWiki is just one of them. I feel that wikis in general are very, very helpful. It's a good place for you to collect information as well, and to be able to go to one repository. You can always easily update it. You can view it from anywhere if it's truly a web server, and be able to work with a lot of good information. We've been doing wiki stuff here on campus, just little notes for different classes and just resources available for quite a while, and something happened to it and I just haven't taken the time to look at it, try to fix it. But there's a lot of information out there that would be available. So today we're going to be working with how do these links work, how do I get the different formatting, how to even create pages within our wiki. We'll be using our server. That's one bad thing about our situation, is that we are in fact our own little network. You only have your client and your server, so you can only access it that direction. You won't even be able to access it from your Windows client to that computer, because it's NATed, unless you had port forwarding, which we could do. You could get to there or whatever. It can be a little bit difficult to do that. If this was a true server, very easy to host. Most web hosting places support MySQL and PHP and Apache, so you can do the exact same thing that we did last week with installing MediaWiki on any hosting site. And it's really easy to configure as long as you have that information. Database, you create the databases, you create the users and those things. Okay, and make sure I get through all these steps here. The first thing I want to do is, in fact, log on to my client machine. And my password is password. Make sure you have your server and your client both up. We'll be doing most things from the server. There's a couple things we'll have to go over and edit on the server side. We're editing a file later on. Make sure you have snapshots also before you do anything with this. That way you can revert back to and practice it again if you want to, if you so choose. If I go to Firefox web browser, which is the one that's built into, I just type in the IP address of my server, which should be 192.168.230.132. Mine's been staying pretty consistent with that. If it's just not working or not connecting, a couple things you might want to check. Maybe because your server is DHCP still, we just haven't gotten to do a static address on there. Go to your server and check your IP address. To do that, first of all, you have to log on to your server. And you use the command ifconfig. And it tells me that my IP address is 192.168.230.132. Again, because it's DHCP, it could certainly change, especially going back and forth with snapshots. So definitely check your IP address. The second thing might be the case is that you might not have installed Apache and MySQL and PHP and MediaWiki. If you miss any of those, just sort of follow along, take notes for today. I'll be giving you a cheat sheet as well, which will help with some of the formatting. But it's not going to have all the formatting I want to go over. So just sort of take notes along the way and you can work with it. Something else that may happen is like, man, I know I did this. You may have reverted back to a snapshot prior to having it installed. Snapshots are definitely advantageous, great for reviewing things, great for going back when you mess things up, whatever, but it's also tricky sometimes by going to a snapshot and not having the stuff that you thought you had. Is everybody connected to their server? You get this page that says it works? If you typed in this correctly and everything's working, it should say it works. This is the default web page for the server. We did go in and modify this last week. So we did put an extra shortcut on here for the Linux 2 wiki. All that is if you look on the bottom of the page right now, it says your server's IP address / MediaWiki. So you can access it directly, or you can have this link. So we edited this file. What file is this? Index.html. And where is it found? And remember? Well, we're waiting for him to finish up there. Let's take a look at that. Yep. There's my index.html. If I wanted to edit that or take a look at that, I can do sudo vim index.html. And there's your document. It works. It really works. Go and save that. Oh, what do I do? So I just changed that. And let me go back and refresh this page, and it says it really works. Do you have a Linux 2 wiki link? Yep, go ahead and click on that. And then we get to our main page of your MediaWiki. And again, if you don't have this, I uploaded all the videos to YouTube. I may not have gotten the learning plans out on Angel. I apologize for that. I'll get that all fixed up so that you'll have all the content. That's what I can do this week. So again, just sort of follow along. The first thing we want to do is just kind of know how to edit and work with this. It does want to keep track of who's doing what, and there are user accounts on here. So the very first thing we want to do is log on or log into the wiki. And up in the upper right-hand corner it says log in. And we click on log in. And the username is wikisysop. How do I know that? Because we created that during the installation process. If you look through your notes and you have it documented, one of the steps says we need an admin password or a root password for the wiki itself. We created database passwords and we created wiki passwords and user accounts, and this was one of them. And if we use normal naming password conventions, we used a password of password. It does say remember this logon on this computer. Not a great idea necessarily, because this is the root password of this wiki, and then they could do anything: create accounts, delete content, whatever. So I don't generally do that. Since it's your own machine and your own little network, it doesn't make much difference. Just sort of good practice. Don't have admin passwords saved on different systems. And we want to click login. It is case sensitive. It's a capital W-I-K-I, capital S-Y-S-O-P. I'm logged in right now. It says it up in the kind of off the center, left center. So you want to log in as wikisysop, capital W, capital S. Password should all be lowercase. Now, because we're admin, or essentially admin, we're the systems operator for the wiki, we can do anything. I'm not going to get into the detailed administration or user access. It just gives us access to the things we need to do as far as editing and configuring and do things we want to do. It's actually a great page. It has a lot of good information. It has configuration settings, it has FAQs for MediaWiki, and it has MediaWiki release mailing list. The user's guide up here is probably very, very useful to you as well. We're only going to cover a very few topics and a very few features, very few, mainly working with pages and linking things, and then general formatting. Also, you look at different wikis and you say, oh, how do you do that? Two things. One is look it up on the user's guide. You can take a look at this and it says, well, for readers, for editors, for moderators, for system administrators, for developers. Well, I'm an editor right now. Well, what things can I do? I can start a new page. I can edit the toolbar, rename pages, export, import, working with links, formatting, different examples of that, and you can work through that. The other way of working with you see something on a wiki, and then you like it and you want to see, like, well, how do you do that? The other way is, if you have access to edit, which most of them do, that's kind of the idea of the wiki, is if you click on the edit button anywhere, it brings up the code for that area. So you can say, oh, that's how you did that. And so you can see that's what I need to do in my coding. How many of you have taken HTML, any kind of HTML class? Okay. One hand and one half hand. So I kind of took it, don't remember it, or just never. That's okay. It's somewhat similar to HTML. Conceptually, it's the same as HTML in the fact that everything is plain text when you're typing it in. It is a straight notepad. There is no bold, there's no italics, there's no links, there's nothing. It is a straight ASCII formatted document. It's all the codes that you put in there that make it do different things, like be links, like having a line, like having this bold, like having bullet points on there. All that's the codes that are put in there, much like HTML. Other than that, the similarities aren't the same at all. None of the codes are the same. So if you know HTML, you can't use the same codes, but you can use the same idea that you use codes to do formatting and to do links. Usually within a document, every section you'll be able to edit individually. Let me see if I can find, well, we'll come back to that when we get to there. Or you can edit the entire page. Everything across the top is related to the entire page. Links across the side relate just to this section. So right now when I click on edit, It's just this Getting Started section. And in fact, you can see it's Getting Started, and here's the links and things underneath here. If I want to edit the entire page, I click up here, and that includes the Getting Started section as well as everything above it. Let's start by creating a page. We want to put our own page on here. Normally, you would be deleting this page or re-editing this page completely to your new document, what you're going to be doing. I don't want you to do that because I don't want you to lose these links. And you can always put those on yourself and deal with them, but we're just going to sort of modify the page just a little bit, keeping the Getting Started things. So I'm going to edit this page. I'm going to work everything underneath at the bottom, and so I'm going to give myself an extra space underneath the Getting Started, and I'm going to be creating a link to a new page. And it's kind of easy to do it, is you use the double square brackets, so 2 brackets on the left, and then you name it whatever you want to do. So I'm going to name it Paul's Wiki. And then I do a close bracket. This really is a link. Anytime that you have a double square brackets, that is a link, an internal link. So it's within Wikimedia, somewhere within there. And we'll talk more about links later on. What's nice about this feature is that you can create the link before you have the page. So when I do this right now, I'm creating the link, but it's also going to create the page at the same time. If you work with web pages or has a concept of web pages, it seems hierarchical, meaning that I go to a web page, I go to LTC, and then I go under registration or current students, and then I go under registration, and I look for classes. We often think of it hierarchical as far as directories and subdirectories underneath there. It's really not. It's really a flat file system. All the pages are just out there in one big flat file system. It's just how they're linked together. Now, they could be organized with directories, but they don't have to be. It's a very flat system. They're just linked. One page is linked to another page. You click on that link, and that takes you to that page. That's all we're doing right here. So I'm creating a new wiki page called Paul's Wiki. So I scroll down to the bottom. This part's always easily forgotten, that we make the changes and we click the back button, nothing happens. You have to go down to the bottom and click Save Page. And once you save the page, it brings you back. And here's your link. It's called Paul's Wiki. If I click on it, it says it doesn't exist, and so it wants you to create it. And this is where you put your new content. And this is where you can start typing things out there. Let me just type a single line on here, a simple line in here just to begin with, and then we'll come back into and edit it. This is my wiki. Make sure you scroll all the way down and click Save Page. And now you see the title, the name of the page is the title of the page, and then whatever content you have under there. Now these navigation links on the left-hand side are very, very helpful because this will get you back to your main page. Because right now in my wiki, I don't have a link to get back. So you can click Main Page to get back to there, click on Paul's Wiki, to go to Paul's Wiki, and there you are. And that's how we can navigate back and forth. And I'll teach you of how we can actually create links to navigate back and forth. You can hit the back. Otherwise, on the navigation page on the left-hand side, we'll always get back to your main page. Sometimes we don't want to go all the way back to the main page, though. Sometimes we want to navigate within our areas. And again, I'll work with links. You know what? Let's just do the links right now. Isn't that later? But to do the links, it's the same thing we just did when we created a new page. It's the double brackets. And if that page doesn't exist, it creates it for you. If it does exist, it's going to take you there. So I'm going to put double bracket main page. Go ahead and save that. And I click on the main page. It takes me to the main page. I click on Paul's Wiki. It takes me to Paul's Wiki. Okay, how did I do that? I went to Paul's page, Paul's Wiki, and just like I did to the links, a link within MediaWiki is double bracket, double square bracket. And you can either type in an existing page or you can type in a new page. Either way, it's just a link. If the link doesn't exist, when you click on it, it brings you to the edit page. If it does exist, it brings you to that page. And now I have the main page and Paul's page. I'm sorry? For a new page. Correct. And let's do that right now. Let's just make another one. Let's edit this. And so I have main page over here, but let me make a new page called Living Things. So I have two links, one to main page and one to Living Things. Main page exists, so it takes me there. Living Things doesn't, so it's going to bring me to the edit screen for that. I scroll on down and I click Save. And I have two links. I click on main page, it's there. I click on Paul's Wiki, it's there. If you notice this link is red, and that actually means if you hover over it, it says Living Things page does not exist. That means you didn't type it in right. It will look like bracket bracket main space page bracket bracket capital M capital P. There it is. Good. Now we're going to click on the Living Things page. And now it wants to edit the Living Things page. Maybe I want to create some more pages underneath here. Plants, animals. And then maybe a link back to Paul's Wiki, and then maybe a link back to main page. Sure, in fact, let's do that right here. Plants dash this link will take you to the plants page. This link will take you to the animals page. This link will take you back to Paul's Wiki. This link will take you back to the main page. Yes, I kind of, sure. Welcome to the Living Things page. Welcome to the Living Things page. And then I might put a space under here. And go ahead and save it. And they all run together. Let me fix that. It likes to have extra spaces in there. So let me put spaces in there. And now let's save it. Correct. Absolutely. The red ones mean they don't exist. If you hover over them, it says there's a plants page, but the page doesn't exist. And this one doesn't exist, but this one does. So if they're that purplish, bluish, whatever that color is, that's good. That means that you typed it correctly. So if your Paul's wiki doesn't work, or if it's red, or the main page is wrong, then go back and look for it. It is case sensitive. If you didn't have an apostrophe S, and you just had an S, or you had a dash, it's extremely case sensitive, and you know, every character counts. Now, if I click back on Paul's wiki, it takes me to Paul's wiki. If I click on living things, it takes me to living things. Maybe. There we go. Now let's start looking at some editing. If I edit this text, like welcome to living things, that's not very exciting. You know, it's just a simple text on there. I might put an exclamation mark at the point, exclamation point at the end, but that's not necessarily very exciting. Well, a couple things you can do is you can do formatting, bold and italics, and that's about it. So, and there's different headings we can work with as well. Yes. So let's just start with some basic formatting. The most basic formatting is the italicize. And keeping track of this is a little tricky. It's a double single quote. Okay, does that make sense? It's single quote, single quote. At the beginning, and if you're familiar with HTML, you also have beginning tags and ending tags. Everything within there is what matters. It takes that effect. So I have a single quote at the beginning and a single quote at the end. Let me go ahead and save that. And now it's italicized. The next thing I want to show is bolding. So italicized is using two single quotes at the beginning and the end. If I click edit on here again and I add a third quote, a third single quote, so 3 at the beginning and 3 at the end, it makes it bold. What if you want to make it bold and italicized? Well, what do you need for italicize? 2. And for bold, you needed 3. So that'd be 5. So it's a combination of the two. 5 will bold and italicize. So welcome to Living Things, the Living Things page. And one minor type of formatting as well. If I want to do a horizontal line underneath here, just to sort of break things up a little bit, I can do 4 dashes. 1, 2, 3, 4 dashes. And that gets interpreted to an entire horizontal line. And it goes all the way across. So very, very basic formatting so far. Italicized, bold, and then italicized and bold together, and then a horizontal line. Four dashes. 4 dashes. 1, 2, 3. 4 dashes should make that to a horizontal line. There's one more way of working with the different sizes, and I should say more with the sizes of the fonts, and that's with working with headings. And I want to work with those on the next pages because the headings start to make more sense there. You do have some formatting here as well. Just showing this up here. So if I had some text and I wanted to bold it, I can select this and then hit the bold, and it does that formatting for you. Don't rely on those because you're not always going to have this editor available. I mean, you often will, but you should know the codes. So I need to have the triple single quote to make it bold. Oh, they do have underline. I didn't show that one. No, that's a link. Bracket, bracket, underline. No, that's not it. I didn't think they had underline. And then italicize, if I did that. Italic. I'll just be there. And I select all this, and I bold it. It's going to add the extra single quotes. It's just easier just to know the quotes and the codes. Go ahead and save this, and you should have a page that looks something like this. Is welcome to the Living Things page, Plants, Animals, Paul's Wiki. This link will take you back to Paul's Wiki and main page. Let's work with plants. Because it's a new page, it brings up a new page to edit. This is the plants page. Now, instead of having these, is yours showing up on the screen? What we've done so far is if we want more information, so break it down, we created another page, another page, another page. Finally, you get to a point where I don't want to make this into multiple pages. I just want this to be different sections of the same page. And that's going to show us headings and section features and table of contents and all that kind of stuff at the same time. So I can break this down to different sections. How can I break down plants? What's the way I could break down plants? I'm sorry? Tall ones and short ones. Any better way? Trees, bushes, flowers, something like that. Okay, we'll go with that. Okay, the formatting for this is for headings is we use the equal sign. And if we make an equal sign, and this will make it the top heading or the main heading. Usually not recommended to do the main heading with on a page though with a single equal sign because that's going to be the exact same size as your page name. So let's show that real quick. So let's just do flowers. And again, we have an opening and a closing. So an equal at the beginning and the end. And we click save. And so now our page name is plants. And then our heading is the exact same size of that. So it's usually a good idea to make it a subordinate one. It's pretty easy to do that by making things subordinate of other things or smaller or the subheadings of different things by adding more equal signs. So if I have two equal signs, that's a subheading. If I ended up so let me make a couple of those. Trees, shrubbery, and I don't know, underwater. If I want to have these as subcategories underneath here, I do three equal signs. So flowers could be, how would you break up flowers? There you go. Perennials. Annuals. Trees, we could break it up to, I don't know how to spell it, but trees that don't lose leaves. That's evergreen, evergreens, and deciduous, which are trees that do lose leaves. Because I know how to spell all those words, and I don't know how to spell deciduous. and it's just showing that kind of idea of having multiple, subheadings and could I break up perennials or annuals into anything else? Any flower people? Oh, actually, we'll do under perennials. We'll make tropical. And I'm using 4 equal signs. Non-tropical. Don't get overly concerned with the content. It's just putting some stuff on here showing headings and sub-subheadings. If I go ahead and click Save the Page, you're going to see all those headings, subheadings, and sub-subheadings underneath there. And each of them has their own edit section. So if you just want to edit just the annuals, this is just the annual section. You click back, and if I just want to click on the edit the flowers section, that's all the flower section. So it is hierarchical within there, the subheadings. What's also nice is that as soon as you have more than 3 topics or 3 headings, it automatically creates a table of contents for you. It's assuming that if you have more than 3 topics, the page is going to be kind of long. How am I going to navigate across here? This is an easy way to do that. If I want to click on trees that do lose leaves, I can go right to that section then. Let's go ahead and add some items in here. So let's edit the entire page. Let's just have a couple examples of each of these. Under tropical, anybody know any tropical flowers? I don't know either. I'm not sure. We'll make it up. That means I have to be able to spell it. Hibiscus. Hibiscus. Okay. Hibiscus, and I should have chosen a topic that I actually knew something about. Tropical, perennials, I don't know. Orchid, that would be. Non-tropical would be like roses and dandelions. There you go. And annual would be something like carnations? No. What other red things? Geraniums, that's what I was thinking of. Geraniums. Marigold. Trees that don't lose leaves would be, oh, I don't know, evergreen and a fir tree. This is why we don't use Wikipedia as a academic source, because anybody could type anything in, whether it's true or not. Maple and birch, good one. And we'll just do those right now. Let's just give ourselves a little bit of spacing so it's not like all running together. And we can take a look and see what it looks like. So we'll save the page and see what it looks like. And so it's like, oh, okay, well, not exactly what I wanted. It's going to put everything sort of together. It's that whole spacing thing like we had before. It always likes having those extra spaces on there. Also, it'd be kind of nice to be able to put these as maybe bullet points or as a list of some sort, rather than, having them just as plain old text. So let's go ahead and do that. if you put an asterisk in front of it, it's going to make it into a bullet point. And a lot of times that's the way we like to have things. When we have lists of things, if we're looking very quickly, okay, what are some things we're looking for? Have them as bullet points. So going back through all of our items in our list, we can just hit an asterisk in front of it. So it's looking a little bit nicer. I'm getting more information on here. I have bullet points on there as well. Just like we have with headings, where we have headings and then subheadings and sub-subheadings, we can do the same thing with bullet points. Let's go in here and edit one more time. And let's go to our maple. And I'm going to put a double asterisk. And I'm going to put sugar and, was it white? Silver. That's it. There's probably a white maple too. But a sugar maple and a silver maple, if I do double asterisks, it's going to look like a sub bullet point. Looking down here. Oh no, not the end. Just the beginnings. Yeah. I'm so used to putting things at the beginning and end. I didn't before. So for bullet points, it's just at the beginning, not the end. So you can see how it's indented. So it does all the indenting for you in the formatting. So trees that do lose leaves, maples, sugar maples, silver maples, and then birch underneath there. This is just an informational page, but if you think of if it's documentation of something else, you could see that could be valuable when you have lists of items and then subcategories of lists. It doesn't necessarily have to be its own category or heading. It's just a way of organizing them. If you want these to show up on the table of contents, you'd have to make them a heading though. And if you wanted everything in detail down here, you'd have to go back and change some of those to, deeper headings if you had lots of information about them. So hibiscus and orchids, I'd put 5 equal signs on each side to make that a sub-subheading. So we good on headings so far, and italicized and bold, and italicized and bold, and bullets and horizontal lines. Yes. Yes, I'll be posting a cheat sheet for that. There's a couple online too, but I'll put one out on Angel for you, and you can add it to your other cheat sheets that you've accumulated. Okay. Okay. It's 10. We'll take a break. When we come back, I want to do some more formatting and then a little bit more working with links. Yeah, if you're in edit and you're like, oh my word, what did I just do? I just made all kinds of I just typed the wrong spot. What did I change? You can't just hit the back button because it doesn't take effect until you hit the save. So just hit back, or if you want to, you can scroll on down to hit cancel. It does the same thing. So none of those changes took effect. Okay, moving along. Next thing I want to add, we've been working with bullet points. I want to be working with auto numbering or numbering. If I have this document here, I can see I have bullet points and I can sub-bullet points. They're sort of along the same lines with numbers, except putting numbers here instead. That works really well, very, very well, in fact, for instructions or steps. So this isn't very structured, doesn't make much sense. I'm just going to edit this plans page, and I'm going to add another section way on the bottom, make it the same level, called plant care. I make it more detailed. Planting. Planting. Okay. You don't like that? How to plant a plant. What's nice about this is that I just use the pound sign or the number sign instead of the asterisk, and it's going to change the bullet to an actual number. So step one of how to plant a plant would be to buy the seed. I just use numbers. I don't have to do 1, 2, 3, 4. So buy the seed, dig a hole, put seed in the hole, and water. Okay, let's just keep it this way for right now. And if I scroll down here, I have step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. Now, what's really, really nice about this, just like Daniel brought up, well, what if I want to add more steps in here? Using I can just click edit on here, by the way, instead of editing the entire page, and I can see just this. Instead of having to, anybody create a list like step 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you realize that you forgot step 3, and you're renumbering everything from 4 through 50, you don't have to do that. I just put a new line in here, put seed in the hole, cover the hole. And as soon as I save that, it keeps track of all your numbering for you. So you don't have to go back. I don't know how many times I've gone through documentation and had to renumber things because you want to clarify it or just, oh, I forgot a step or whatever it's going to be. And then you have to manually retype everything. By just using the number sign, the pound sign, you can take care of that. Just like when we worked with the bullet points, we can have sub-bullet points, same thing with numbering. If I really want to break down how to buy the seed, I could use a double pound sign, buy the seed. Go to the store, pick out your seed, pay for the seed, go home. Under dig a hole, I could put pound of get a shovel. Dig the hole, and whatever you want to add. Clicking Save the Page, you can see now of how I keep the main numbering the same, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then if I have subcategories underneath here or sub-steps underneath here, it will number them 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, and so forth. Making sense? Getting that? Sometimes you want something to really stand out, or in some situations you want to have people type in exact syntax. You don't want this formatting and different things to get in the way. And we might want to put a box around it and use straight text. So under how to plant a plant, I'll put an extra line up on top. And if I want something in a box, I'll put just a single space. It's kind of weird. It doesn't tell you anything. I'm putting a space, and now I'm going to start typing something in here. Don't plant illegal plants. What that does is puts a big box around it, and it kind of points it out and says, hey, this is important, or something along those lines. It can be used that way to point out something that's very important. Another way of doing, another reason for putting things in box, if you notice, it's using just the plain Courier kind of square font. That's where syntax can come in handy. And this not going to make any sense here at all. But if I clicked edit here, and I'm just going to put another line on here, I'll just make some space here. type the following in the command prompt. And I do a space, and I type in cd /var www. So this would be like editing the index file of your web page. To edit the index page. Now, if I keep lines consecutive with spaces in there, cd space var www sudo vim index.html. Now, when I do that, it'll put multiple lines in there, and it makes it without formatting. So it's a little bit easier and clear to tell these are specific command prompt commands. And this is kind of how it looks. Just put a space before it, and you can have that box as big as you want by keeping the lines consecutive. If you end up making a space and then doing another one, and then a space, another line, if you break it apart, it makes it into two boxes. If you want it in the same box, get rid of that extra space, that extra blank line. Correct. And if you don't have the space in front of it, then it's going to just be a plain text line. So lots of formatting, lots of cool things for formatting. Just a couple more things dealing with links. Like we showed before, you can link to another page in the document. So, I don't know, just not making much sense at all. But way down the bottom, I could put bracket. I think I have an animals page, right? Animals. This link will show you animals that most likely will eat the plants. Must not be animals. Let me go back and look what it is. Oh, I never created animals yet. Living things. And then animals. Yeah, it'd be creating the page, right. This is the animals page. Okay, let's try this out. Paul's Wiki, living things, plants, and then way down the bottom. So that's a really easy way of being able to link it. It brings me to the animals page. I can go back there, and you can sort of move anywhere that you want. Another way of working with this link, if I want to edit this link, is all this text over here. This link will show the animals that most likely will eat the plants. That could be the link itself. So it's a little bit different formatting. This is the basic, really, really simple way of doing it. Bracket, bracket, the page name, bracket, bracket. If you put a pipe in there, and you put the double bracket at the end, that will become the link, but that's where it's going to go to. So let me click Save Page there. And so this is the link now. This whole thing is the link. But if you hover over it, it tells you what page it's going to go to. So it's going to the animals page. So it's a different way of viewing that. A lot of times you'll have links that will say something like, click here to watch the video, and then the video will be a link to someplace. That's sort of the same thing here. Instead of saying, you know, the whole showing what the link is going to be. Or click here to show animals, and it takes you to animals. So knowing how to format that can be valuable. I'm sorry? Oh, you can't? Well, just spell it the same way. You can't remember how you spelled it? Let me show you some of this stuff then, as long as we're working at this point. It's like, oh man, what pages do I even have created at this point, and where are they, and what's all going on? We have lots of options on the left-hand side. What's a really, really nice link is down in the toolbox area is a link called Special Pages. And if we click on Special Pages, there's all kinds of different things. There are, what are some long pages, what are dead end pages that don't go anywhere, pages without language links, so let's make a difference, protected pages. Right under here, list of pages, you can click on all pages. And this shows you all your pages. So I have an animals page. These are the actual names of the pages. So animals page, living things, main page, Paul's Wiki, and plants. If you want to go to it, you click on animals, and that is it. Say I want to rename one of these. Say I didn't want this to be called animals anymore, or you misspelled it one way or the other. Say I want to change this from animals to animal kingdom, or spelling it correctly. It's actually a move command. You're putting this on a different page. You can't just rename the page. What you do is you put it onto a new page. So you're taking the contents here and putting it someplace else. Now what's going to happen is it's going to edit this page, and I'll show this to you in a minute, and it's going to take all, so if people are still referring to animals, that's okay. It's going to get automatically redirected. It's called a redirect. It's going to take you to the new location. So I think it's pretty cool. So let's click on move, and we're going to change it from animals to, what's the new title going to be? Animal Kingdom. Kingdom. There we go. And I click Move Page. Succeed Animals has been moved to Animal Kingdom, and a redirect has been created. So people can still use the animals link. If I click on animals, it's gonna take me to the Animal Kingdom link. In fact, it's going to do an automatic redirect. If I click on a different link, like living things and then animals, it automatically brings me to the Animal Kingdom page, just automatically. Let's go back again. It does not change the name of the link. You're still pointing to the old location. Well, what's the old location look like? If you get to this page that says redirected from here, if you click on this, this is a redirect. Well, what's the coding for that? Well, edit it, take a look at it. And the code is # redirect, and then where you want this to go to. So anytime that anybody hits that page, it automatically redirects them to the new page, but that's how you can take care of your issue. Now, say that it truly was just a spelling error. Well, do I really want this to be linked to this bad spelling error? Not at all. What you do is you have to change your links then wherever that's referenced. So, if I go back to Paul's Wiki under Living Things, instead of animals, I want this to be the new name. Well, how do I do that? I edit it. I edit this page, and in the brackets, I now put the new correctly spelled name in here, and I save it. And now it's not getting redirected to the other page. So it's kind of a couple steps to do that. Let me just go back to special pages and then all pages. and I'm going to delete the animals page. So I go to animals. Make sure I get actually on animals, not the animal kingdom. Animal. Animal? What? Okay. Once I'm on this page, I can delete it. Are you sure you want to delete it? You can give a reason if you want, and I'll delete it. And so now you've completely fixed that whole situation. Let me go through the steps one more time. I'm going to revert it back to animals. So this is what I currently have on my main page. I have living things. And I have this link, and this link to Animal Kingdom. And you know what? I really don't want Animal Kingdom there, or again, I just spelled it wrong. And the link, if I take a look at it, is actually to Animal Kingdom. I don't want it to be there. I want to move this content someplace else. So I have several steps in here. The first step would be to move it. Give it a new name or a corrected name, and then move the page. You go to any references you have to that old page, and this would be the only reference that I have here, and you change your references. And then ultimately, you can delete the page that you don't need anymore. Make sure that when you are going to delete the page you don't want, when you look on all pages and you click on, oh, I don't want Animal Kingdom anymore, be very careful, because when you click on here, it's going to automatically redirect to your new location. That's what the page is designed to do, is redirect there. So don't just say, oh yeah, that's what I want, and click delete. Make sure you click on the actual link. Make sure you're on the actual page that you want to delete. And then hit delete. So that's how you would rename or fix or change. 3 steps. You move it, you change any references to it, and then you delete it. Yes? We're going to do external links now. Say that we want to reference something out on a website, or we want to link to a YouTube video, or whatever it's going to be, some kind of website that we want to go to. And let's find a place where it's to do this. Living animals. We don't have anything on our animals yet. So we'll click on animal, and we want to link to something. When we link with internal things, we use the double bracket. When we work with external objects, we only use a single bracket. And then we need to type in the full web address. So HTTP, we do need to include HTTP // www.animalplanet. I actually don't know what it is. Animal Planet. Well, actually, I'll look it up. It's actually animal.discovery.com. So that's the link we want to use. But the link is going to need, some reference, or what's the name of the link going to be. And we could call it Animal Planet. And then we finish the bracket. So it's looking for the web address first. So I use the web address. You need the HTTP www.animal.discovery.com. And then everything, and then there's a space, and then everything after that becomes the actual link. So I could start the line off with click here for, and it should show up as Animal Planet. Go ahead and save. And it'll say click here for Animal Planet. You know it's an external link because it has a little box with an arrow pointing off for it. And if you hover over it, it should show you http www.animal.discovery.com. That should take you where it needs to go. I click on there, and there's Animal Planet. Oh, isn't that cute? Too cute. Sure, absolutely. So let me edit this again. So again, you're without any characters, you just type whatever you want to type in. The actual link takes this format. It's in single brackets, and we start out with the web address, and then anything we want the link to be. So if you wanted the whole thing to be the link, I could cut this out of there and paste that into there. Click here for Animal Planet. Whatever is after that first space becomes what you click on for the link. So click here for Animal Planet. Spacing is critical on this. You can't have any spaces in the web address, and you have to have a space after it. Now what you do with after that, you could have it all run together. It doesn't make much sense, but you know, this is whatever you want to have. Spaces, dashes, characters, whatever. And this is where your formatting comes in of how you want it formatted. So if I want to click here, here is the link. Click space here for Animal Planet. Only here becomes the link. And however you put it, it doesn't make much difference. Whatever you think looks the best and whatever you think that the person's going to be able to figure out. If it's a YouTube video or something else you want to link to, it's just the whole address. So instead of just youtube.com, it'd be http://youtube.com/ and then whatever the reference is for that specific movie. So make sure you get the whole reference for that's what you want to work with. The last thing I'm going to teach you is how to include pictures or diagrams, a graphic, something into the document. If you already have the document, well, actually we need to upload it. So let me take you through a couple different steps. The first thing we need to do is be able to have a document to work with. So let's go out to the internet and grab a file. I was playing with this before, and underneath, I click my folder, I click under downloads. I downloaded a waterfall picture, but I'll show this whole process. So I'm going to look under Google for, since we're doing animals, cute animals. Oh, isn't that cute? So I'm going to right-click on here. I'm going to find an image on the internet somewhere, and we're going to save the image as. And I'm going to save it as cute bunny JPEG. And just keep track of where you're putting it. It defaults to your downloads directory. I'll keep it there. And it's downloaded. So I don't need this tab anymore. So I got the file that I need. Now what I need to do is be able to upload that picture to the website or to the server. By default, Wikimedia disables that feature. It's a security risk. If people could upload stuff, who knows, or how big, or there's limitations and things, but by default it's turned off. This is the one time that we're going to have to go to our server and edit a configuration file. What would Linux server be without going to the command prompt and editing a configuration file? It just wouldn't be the same if it was all just graphical, right? We need something here, and that's our activity for today of editing a configuration file. We're going to go to our server. Well, back up. I'm going to show that it shouldn't work. If I go to Special Pages, and I scroll on down, here we go. Under Media Reports and Uploads, you have the link to upload a file. So it's, what is it, the third or fourth or fifth section down here, Media Reports and Uploads. So I upload a file, and it says file uploads are disabled. So you need to fix that before you can do anything, before uploading a file. And this is how you can do that. Switch to your server. And we're going to be going to the MediaWiki directory. Now, where is that? That is going to be under User, Share, MediaWiki. And you can type those in individually, go to User directory, and then Share, then MediaWiki, or you can just go straight to it by doing cd space /user /share /MediaWiki. Everybody there? We good? Okay. The dollar sign will just be there. You don't type the dollar sign in. The file we want to edit is called local settings PHP. Now, Linux is extremely case sensitive, so we have to get this right. We want to do sudo vim. Sudo is going to make sure that we don't have any writes or write protection errors or whatever, and vim is our editor, and we're going to be editing local settings.php. Local is a capital L, settings is a capital S, it's all one word. So capital L, OCAL, capital SETTINGS, .php. PHP is a scripting language, so these are just settings configurations, and you would look at that. When we type that in, it's going to ask us for our password if we haven't done it recently, and we come up to our file. Let me exit out of here. Let's look at that file, that command again. Sudo space vim space local settings, capital L, capital S, .php. I'm looking at this document. I hit A for append, and now I can scroll around and change things. We're going down to a line that's going to say enable upload. Did I miss it? I don't think it's this far down. Oh, here it is. Yep. Looks like it's line 87. Line 87 in mine. Well, they should all be the same. Line 87, it says enable uploads false. That means that you can't do it. Enable uploads is false. We change false to true. It should be a purple word. If it's not purple, then it's not, you spelled it wrong. TRUE for true. Then we hit escape, :W for writing that file. The file has been written, and now we can :Q to exit. So that was our experience of editing files today. That's all we're doing over there. We're going to switch back over to our command, to our desktop. Now if I reload this page, it gives us the ability to upload a file. :WQ, it writes and quits. I do them, sometimes I do them together, sometimes I do them separate. If I really want to make sure it's done, I do the write, and then I do the quit. If you notice on the left-hand side, you also have an upload file over here on the left-hand side too. If I click on the main page, I also have upload down here, which I didn't have before. So if I click on upload file, I'm not uploading it to any, well, there's a specific place that it's uploading to, but I don't care. It's the repository. It keeps them all there. I just link to all those same objects. It's very flat again. It's not hierarchical. So the source file name, now you could just type it in, or if you scroll on over, you have a browse button. Browsing is much better. And I want to choose the cute bunny. And I click open. And I kind of scroll down here and I click on upload file. So I'm going to upload cute bunny, cute_bunny. And it's a JPG file. So cute_bunny JPG. And it keeps track of all kinds of stuff as far as its dimensions and whatever. Now, let's go back to our page and include this in our animals page. So I go to Paul's Wiki, living things, and then animals. And this is the page I want to edit it and add it to. Give it an extra space. Since this is technically an internal link, I'm going to be using 2 brackets. So this is an internal link. And I'm telling that this is a file. So I'm going to type in file, and then I need to put the file name in here. And it is a capital CUTE underscore bunny.jpg. And you need to know the exact file extension. It has to be JPG or JPEG or BMP or whatever the exact extension is going to be on there. And then I can close this up. You do have lots of different options. I'm not going to get into those options. You can control its size. You can make it a thumbnail. You can have it make it a link to something else. I just want to include the document for today. So I'm going to do a file, cute bunny. And I click Save Page. And there's my animal page. That is pretty cute. So the things we talked about are about creating new pages, deleting pages, moving pages, and then working with their links. That indirectly led us into the redirect feature. Formatting, we have headings, we have text formatting, we have bullets, numbering, boxes, and horizontal lines. We talked about linking to external sources such as web pages, and also of how what we need to do to upload a picture and then link to a picture. And that is all I'm going to be covering on MediaWiki. Your job is to be using MediaWiki for your notes. You've typed up a lot of notes, you have a lot of notes. I want you to use this as a repository for some of your notes. Don't make this your only repository because you can't access this from everywhere, but start organizing things. How am I going to organize my notes? How am I going to put these things underneath here? Possibly, having a, wrong one. A Linux 2 link. I click on Linux 2. Maybe under Linux 2, I would have server installation, client installation, web server configuration, Wikimedia installation or configuration, or just make Wikimedia, whatever you want me calling these, a way of organizing several of the things that we've been working with. Client installation. How am I going to do that? To start with numbering. Create a new virtual machine. Mount the ISO image of the Ubuntu desktop CD. Choose this option. Choose, cursor's in the way. Choose that option. Whatever you may be doing. Now you have client. Putting other links on there so I don't have to click back and forth. Like, how am I going to get from there to there to there? Server installation, how do I do the web things? Just lots of things we've been working with. Even screen capturing. When you installed Zential, what did I do? How do I do that? Getting used to working with the pages and the links and making something useful. I'm not giving this as a specific assignment. It will be a graded topic, though. So it's going to be one of those Dropbox things that will eventually be showing up out there. Over break, I'll be adding several more of those, and we'll be talking about, don't worry about doing them over break, but I'll be talking about them next week, sort of showing you, okay, these are the things that you be working on and have to be done before then, before the end of the semester. Just showing you some of those things. So letting you know that your documentation will be one of those things. I'm not looking at you doing it necessarily. I'll be looking at sort of the results. Show me how you did this, or show me these links, and show me that you can get from there to there, and that you actually have content in there. So ultimately, that's going to be there. Questions on Wikimedia? Questions on Wikimedia? Okay. I know it's going past break, but let me just finish up with this. I would like you to, let me close my virtual machines. I would like to try something different for future Dropboxes when I put those out there, and that's going to be uploading them to YouTube. I was debating on this for quite a while. Not sure if everybody have to have an account and uploading them and then sort of having your image out there. And the more I thought about that, the more I thought that you really need to, for multiple reasons. One is, this is something you'll be supporting. You're going to be running into companies. They're going to be posting YouTube videos. They're going to be doing documentation. They're going to be doing marketing items, sales items. They're going to be doing all kinds of promotional, just awareness things, training, whatever, and you're going to need to be able to understand kind of what's happening in the back end of the YouTube side. So by you having your own channel, you'll be able to start working with that, uploading, looking at the video, managing, those kinds of things. In addition, that's something that you're always going to have and be able to take with you and be a portfolio. You want to show, this is the things I can do. This is a great way to show that. And you can say, hey, take a look at this, this is what I've done, this is how I can do that. And it also gives you an opportunity to review your own work. Oh, I know I did this, how did I do it? Notes are great. Watching a video sometimes is easier for you to see what you've done or remind you of things. Don't replace that with the notes, though. I'm going to try to walk you through this. Unfortunately, I already have an account, so it's going to be a little bit more difficult to show you the beginning stages. So if you go to YouTube, everybody should go to youtube.com. And through your school's email, you should have access to have an account. Let me log out. And on the upper right-hand corner, you should be able to click Sign In. And it says your email or your YouTube username. You should be able to log in as your LTC's user account. Go to youtube.com, and the upper right-hand corner it says log in. You make it this page and update your account as required. Yeah? No? No? So you guys don't have it. I was told that all the educational ones have it. Okay. Okay, let me check with computer services and see what we can do about changing that. If not, we might just have to have you create your own on your own user, under your own email or something. I prefer you doing it through the schools one, so don't do a whole lot with this yet. Wait until I can confirm this. I thought it said this account is managed by LTC, so I just I figured that it was going to be available to everybody. Apparently not. So hang on to that. Don't make any changes. Do the existing drop boxes. If you're behind on some things, go ahead and do the existing drop boxes the same that we've been doing it, using the MP4 versions and then just uploading them. This might just be a potential future thing. I'll double check on this. If I can't get school to enable this, then we'll just go through and having you use personal accounts, which isn't bad either. It's just nice to keep one that you'll be keeping forever, though. We'll try it later on. Questions on anything else today, then? Nothing specific is due. I would just start putting documentation in there in your wiki, just to start organizing it, start playing with it and using it. Ultimately, it's going to be an assignment. And over the course of this next week, I'll be adding more drop boxes or creating some more assignments of specific tasks. But I probably won't even publish those until I can figure this part out of making sure that I have a way of you posting it. I'm going to try to get you to use YouTube instead of, I'm just going to try it. You're guinea pigs. You get to find out, I get to find out what works and what doesn't work and what you like and what you don't like, so that future classes can benefit from your pain and suffering and confusion. Okay, that's all I have for you today then. If there are any questions, please stop and ask, and I'll be happy to try to help you out.